Alright, today I'm going to do a tutorial how to play A site from both sides. On T side, how to attack it. On CT side, how to defend. I'm going to go over a lot of the basic stuff, some of the stuff that I think people miss a lot. But basically this guide's going to be for anyone who's under 25k elo, under Faceit 10. It's going to tell you everything you need to know to play the site effectively. That way, in your Mirage games, you're able to leverage attacking A site to get rounds. You're going to be able to leverage defending A site to put more resources on the map in other places, especially mid. So the number one thing I want you to take from this video is don't throw your molly like this. Make sure you throw your molly like this. And the reason why is because the molly that pops deeper is actually easier to beat. If they get the fastest spawn and they come up the right side here, the guy sprinting up can jump right up to this platform or just run up to it and fight people as they're crossing. If you're dealing with a lot of A ramp lurkouts where they're going to have a lot mid and 1T is coming here and he's clearing like this, it's important to always try this spot at least once, because by the time they get here, usually they're clearing right here, either clearing this or they're clearing right here. But when they're walking out ramp, they actually can't see you if you're crouched behind these missiles until this spot, so it's really easy to fake clear this. Now, to make this simple, the main places you're going to want to play if you play on the A site is you're going to want to play missiles, or you're going to want to play under scaffolding. If you play missiles and the execute comes in, right-clicking a smoke right there is extremely advantageous because you can play up on the missiles, fight people who are coming Tetris. You can use this to defend yourself. You can come back here into Ninja, hold for the palace player because this is going to be smoked off, and because it's the edge of a smoke, you can spam through and actually check to see if people are Tetris. And of course, that smoke does allow you to leave very easily while still being able to fight for your side of the site. And because the smoke is here instead of in front of the triple box, if you do back up the ticket, you now have an angle where you can help your team for people who are scaling up on the sandwich side or jumping onto stairs. Now another thing is if you ever get stuck right here, if you ever throw your smoke like this, you get stuck right here, you aim where the missile meets this little line, you left click throw. There's actually a one-way flash. The biggest thing about this flash is that it's just nice for fighting people who are trying to fight you off the angle. Finally, the last position people like to play is under scaffolding. The reason why is same idea. You throw the defensive smoke. Once the defensive smoke is there, you have angles where you can check to see if they're on Tetris. You can come back, you can jump on here to missiles, get another angle on Tetris. You can hold for people who are scaling up onto the site like this. And then also, because it's a smoke, if they want to push through, it gives you a nice advantageous fight. If they do decide to push, of course, the main reason why people like playing under scaffolding is because if you right click the smoke right here, you aim at the ladder and you left click a flash, it gives you a nice pop flash. It allows you to fight people who are trying to come through the smoke, allows you to fight people who are coming through to push you, and allows you to fight the people up here blind. Now the main thing to keep in mind, make sure you right click the smoke near the pillar. The reason you want to do that is because with the T's coming out, they're going to see the missile stack right here, or they're going to remember where it is. They're going to throw a molly, they're going to try and flush you out. You don't want that to happen. You want a smoke that you can play around, that you can see just barely, that you can still throw your flashes around. So you want to make sure that you pop it just in front of the pillar, right around this area, but not so far that it's going to go out and not extinguish the molly that they're trying to throw. Now, there is a funny thing where if you're playing triple and you do decide to throw the left side smoke, you can actually go ahead and, if you don't get spammed down, cross onto bench, so they're not going to be able to see you do that. But once you come over here, there's actually a trash can that you just walk right up even without jumping. You can actually play this as a one-way, but it only catches people coming out palace or catches people on the Tetris boxes. Now, the main reason people don't like playing in CT is because they get met with this smoke, comes over, hits the wood, makes this impossible to fight through, because when the smoke lands properly, there's not going to be a way to see over this. You could jump up and even shoot like this, but another problem is once the T see you doing this, they're going to spam you because this cover is paper. So the smoke's going to come down in your face on CT. You're going to be blocked out like this. What do? Come into this corner right here, aim at the roof right here. You're going to want to throw your molly. The reason you're going to want to throw your molly is because it blocks off the default plant spot and it makes them have to plant over here. But once your team hears them planting over here, this cover is completely bangable. So your team can spam, and get them off the plant. The main idea is once that smoke goes down, you throw your molly. If you want to check the smoke, I like to pull out a grenade. I'm at around the 4th step, right click jump throw, and it pops the smoke just in case you do want to catch people scaling forward, or you think that someone's trying to run up against this wall right here. That could be a nice one. And like I said, if you're smoked off, it doesn't have to be bad. If you see that your teammates are trying to fight through jungle, you actually can flash for them by flashing right over here. The flash is going to pop for people who are holding for a smoke push. One last thing I forgot to mention on CT is if you do get smoked like this, there's actually a lineup. Come here, get stuck in the corner, aim just to the right of this one where it starts getting kind of dark, and if you spam like this, you can actually see that this is going to kill anyone who's on the default plant spot. Now I just want to include this real quick. I didn't know where else in the video to put it, but if you come out into this corner right here and you aim at the top right of this window and you do a simple jump throw, it's going to smoke off Palace. This is not for the A player, but you can throw this if you want to help from the B site rotate. Now before we move on to the T side, I just want to go over a couple more things that are pretty helpful to know on the CT side, such as if you throw your smoke on the right side of missiles right here. I've seen a lot of people back up and play into this position just to catch people who are jumping up on Tetris or to catch people who are coming through onto the site. And the thing that's nice about this is because people normally don't want to just run through a smoke like this, so usually you can get people to stall out on the actual attack. If you do want to back up and play this position, this is extremely committed, and so you are going to be stuck here and you're going to have to fight to the death, but still good smoke. It's better than just allowing people to come up, because once you start shooting, they're going to swing you close and they're going to see you way before you see them, because this angle is way closer to you than it is to them. Now, of course, if you get smoked out and you're the connector player, one extremely helpful thing you could do is you can come here. Imagine where the corner of the stairs is, right here. Go ahead and left click throw a molly. It doesn't have to be perfect. This one actually is a decent room for error, but it's going to Molotov off the same thing that the molly from spawn is going to do. This is extremely helpful to your teammate who, if they don't have a molly, won't be able to throw the molly that I showed earlier, especially if they were the one who threw the A ramp molly. The other thing that's really helpful is if you do get smoked off like this, throwing a flash in toward the box is extremely helpful. That's going to not blind a lot of the angles. It's really easy to freehand because as long as they're not swinging off the left side, it's going to just give them a support flash that's going to hit anyone at this area so that they aren't getting swung from multiple places while they're trying to fight people scaling up Tetris. The other smoke, the other flash that's really nice to help your teammates is, let's say you're smoked like this and you're still smoked like this. If you come back here and you aim toward the window and then down where there's this little line right beneath it, you can left click throw a flash, and that flash is going to pop right in front of the missiles. So you can see as your teammates trying to fight people coming out, as your teammates trying to fight people jumping up, as your teammates trying to fight people close swinging, it's just going to give a flash that is going to pop in the peripheral of every single person that's fighting them. If you do have the smokes here and you have a teammate in con who's trying to get, let me flash you, let me flash you through. If they're throwing the flash and you want to go through, you don't have to sprint through like this and go all the way deep. The biggest thing about the jungle smoke since the volumetric smoke change in CS2 is that if the smoke is right here and you want to come through and jump onto the bench, you can play the smoke like a one-way where you're going to be able to stop people who are coming out Palace. And just to prove that this works with all smokes, I'm just going to throw stairs and jungle lineup. So here's that. And you can see the smokes are going to land like this. Come through, look at your mini map, see where the bench is, jump up, and this is actually going to cover you from main. You can see this one even landed a little bit more shallow, but you can still one-way people coming out Palace. Now, another thing I don't see people use enough is this box. Now, the biggest thing is that if you're playing into mid, let's say you have the mid smoke, you're peeking, you're fighting, you pick this guy, and it goes quiet mid. You can actually check into Palace without leaving connector, just by crouching, jumping up here. This box does allow you to see people who are creeping out. Of course, once you're done there, you can silent drop off. But the other funny thing about the box is that even though these two smokes look like they make one big smoke, that's really hard to spam. If you stand on the box, you can actually see where these two smokes meet. right here along this line. I don't know if this makes sense. I can just kind of see it. But you can actually spam and get big holes because these are two edges of different smokes. So this is a really good area to spam. You know, of course, if you try and spam into the thicker parts of the smoke, you're not going to be able to see as much. And obviously everyone knows, but there is a little sliver right here that will change colors. So if you do ever play this angle, you just wait to see if any of this little line changes colors. Once it does, you can start pre-firing because you know they're going to come around the corner. It gets a little bit more obvious the farther you stand out, but obviously the farther you stand out, the more likely someone is going to see you from main. But it's just another cheeky way that you can get an advantage on people. Alright, so first I'm going to show you the A pistol rush smokes. Come here, aim at this little corner right above this mark, jump throw the first one, W jump throw the second one. These smokes are terrible, and I would never recommend throwing them on a normal round. But for pistol rushes, it can be really effective just because it's so fast. There's no gap, but they leave a massive amount of room to walk out. But what's really nice about this smoke combination is that on Glocks, it just gives you a lightning quick execute. Just because any other smoke lineup is going to be slower. You can throw it right off of spawn just by coming here and throwing the two smokes. And of course, because your teammate, whoever dropped the other smoke, will drop you the flashes, you're already in prime position to throw flashes over. Please, 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 if you're going to throw a set of A nades, just come up and learn the ones that are on the post right here. Throwing the one that's the left and right click jump throw off the little smudge on the wall right here, and then just left click throwing over the top of this. Now, without the stairs smoke, that jungle smoke has a gap, but if you throw them together, they're gapless, and it has the least amount of room for people to come out. There is still always going to be room unless you throw it super far back. The other smoke setup I see sometimes that's alright is the middle pillar one, where you come through, you aim at where these two angles would intersect right here, and then you aim at this big white blotch, left, right, click, throw, jump throw. And the biggest thing about these ones is that they're kind of the same thing. It's gapless, there's a little bit more walkout room. This one still sometimes bleed, but it'll be a tiny column right there. Now, the perfect CT smoke is the one where you come into the middle column, you aim at the bottom of this little ledge right here, and you jump throw. That one is perfect because when it hits this wood, it is gapless. Now this is a leaking classic. Coming over here using the big crosshair to line up this pillar with this pillar where those two things intersect, and then jump throwing. That smoke is going to fall, and while it's falling in the bottom left corner, you can come over to the crack, aim at the corner right here, run, throw as you're approaching the light, and that's going to burn anyone out underneath. But the biggest thing is that it's going to give you a way to walk out, so you can walk through, peek off the top, but also once that molly is down beneath you, you can peek in the jungle and you can peek into CT. So just a really strong one-way smoke. Now, if you do plant in front of missiles or you plant in front of the boxes, usually you'll do this because you don't have a CT smoke, but these angles are smoked off, so you're trying to get a quick plant in. And one of your teammates has a molly. There actually is a weird lineup where if you come into this little beam and you see where this line goes down and this line goes up, you aim in the middle, then you aim slightly up, right in the brick, do a walk throw, so you tap W while holding shift and jump. You can actually molly off all these positions. Of course, you have your standard Palace A Lurk smoke. So the thing about this is you need to land the smoke right here or right here. So you throw the smoke like this. Once you do that, it'll give you a nice little poppable smoke into CT. This is nice if your teammates are coming out and you're trying to check for them. Especially it'll catch a lot of operas off guard. You can walk through, peek into there. Of course, you can drop lower and you can see people through the side of the smoke. Incredibly effective smoke, especially if you're trying to come out Palace but you're worried about being held. From the perspective of the people that are holding in jungle, it's going to be impossible to see you coming out, and it'll most likely bait them into looking the wrong way. Same thing with stairs. They're not going to see anything at first, so it's more likely that they're going to be watching for an A main push. And like I said, the CT guy, this does not look like it's anything, and especially if they spam it, they're hardly going to see anything, but when you spam it, the holes are going to be massive. You're going to be able to see people through it. And the other big thing which is if you have these two positions smoked, there's a guy who's really giving your team hell from CT, and you know your teammate is holding the smokes right here. Come up to this pillar, jump crouch, and you're going to be able to look over and fight people who are hiding here, but this is nice because a lot of times people will back up when they want to be in cover. Now, just a couple weird things about Tetris. Number one is once you jump up right here, you actually walk to this side, and there's a little lip here for some reason. Now, the main reason that's important is because when you're here, it doesn't look like you can watch people walking out of CT, but you actually can if you come to step right here. They give you just a little lip, you can fire off a couple shots and then back up. And the thing about that is once you fire a couple shots, they'll still see the top of your head when you back up, but once you crouch, you cannot be seen anymore. So it's just an incredibly easy way to get a couple shots and then make it so that you're untradeable if there are two people, or to fall back, and of course you can always silent drop off the box. Now the other thing is that if there is ever someone tucked in the sandwich, you can see them in this little gap if they're pressed up against the back wall, so you can always tell if there's someone there. If they're not pressed up against the back wall, the guy palace will be able to see them from here. Also, once you jump up to the first box, if you aim somewhere on the lower part of this cracked wall and then jump left click throw, you can actually throw yourself a stair smoke. Stair smoke is really nice just in case for some reason you get stuck there. It does bleed in, so I would never recommend throwing this as your first option. And the other big thing is once you're in this corner on the first box, you come here, you aim at this little T on the wooden beam, left click throw that molly, and it's going to burn out everything. The thing about that molly is it burns out the reverse firebox, it burns out firebox, and it burns out default. That's everything I know about Faceit Mirage. Hopefully you found this video helpful. Hopefully you learned something new. If you liked this video and it taught you something, please leave a like, share it with someone who needs to see it. Thank you, my name is Leaky, and I'll see you in the next one.